welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, and thank you all for coming. So what got us to this point of actually writing books is, it's actually been 27 years now. November 1st of 1997, we were hit by a drunk driver. This was a 23-year-old that decided that he was going to go to a party and had no plan. He knew he was going to be doing drugs. He knew he was going to be consuming alcohol, but he didn't care to have a plan. He just cared about going to party. Well, he went to that party and he had his fun. Now he's going to leave. Nobody tried to stop him. Nobody cared enough to say, give me your keys. Back then, there wasn't the cell phones. But, like I said, no plan. He left, got into his truck, left that party, and eventually got on Route 20. When he was driving down from Sturbridge, he was passing a lot of cars, driving erratic. Everybody, so many people were so afraid. They were just thankful that they were still alive as he passed them. Sadly, we were just coming from the Auburn Mall, and we had a great day shopping. My husband, Michael, 39 years old, he was driving the vehicle. I was the passenger. I was 30. Kyle was 10 years old. He was sitting directly behind his father, and my two little girls were 3 and 5. They were sitting behind Kyle. We were coming down Route 20 by the Oxford-Charlton Town line where all the construction is being done right now. When we were coming around that corner, all I could see was a truck coming right at us, the headlights. My arms went out, my husband's hands went up. His last words were, oh my God, crash. In those seconds, right after I woke up, I had no idea who was dead or alive. I had no idea that I even still have a family left. I started yelling for my children, yelling for my husband, yelling for Kyle. No answer. And I'll tell you, nobody ever wants to live through that. It's the most scariest thing you will ever go through, and you will never forget it. Finally, after I kept yelling and screaming, my 5-year-old yelled out. She yelled, "Mommy, help me, help me." I was so relieved to hear her voice, but I couldn't get to her. I asked how her sister was, the 3-year-old. She said she was okay, and then Katie started to cry out. I knew they were alive, but still no idea how injured they were. When we got hit, I had no idea that another car hit us from the back. And so I didn't learn that until like months after, because that was never spoken of. But I guess the windows got all smashed in the back, so that's how my two little girls were taken out through the back windows. Family was at the scene of the accident right away. They were the ones driving up Route 20 where the man who hit us was weaving in and out. They were the ones that were like, oh my God, we're so lucky he didn't hit us. So when they stopped at the crash, they had no idea that this was their uncle that just was killed on impact. I'll never forget the face of Mike's cousin when he came to the door and he seen who it was. His face just dropped. And then he's like, I'll be right back. And he went to the driver's side again and double checked to see if Mike was alive or not. But Mike was killed on impact. He was crushed by the steering wheel. He came back to me trying to open up the door, and then eventually now everybody else was coming, the paramedics and the fire department, the police, and now everybody was working on everyone. I got out of the car and I was standing in the rain. It was torrential downpours that night, on and off, and I'll just never forget the feeling of the rain when I was standing there. My arm felt like a big balloon. My whole body was shaking and trembling, and the rain was just like, I don't know how to say it. It was like keeping me awake, if you want to say. And while I was standing there, I was still yelling, "How's my kids? How's my husband? Where's Kyle? How are they?" Nobody still would tell me anything. Finally, I got into the ambulance, and I was told that Kyle was being rushed to the hospital, and he was going into surgery. Still no word on Mike. My 2 little girls were on the way to the hospital, also no idea of the injuries. We were taken to separate hospitals. Some went to UMass, and I went to St. V's with the man who hit us. The man who hit us, he just broke a leg, and he was fine. Myself, they had me, I just remember being on that stretcher, waking up on and off. They kept sedating me. You know, as soon as I'd wake up, I'd be like, I was asking questions, they'd sedate me back, and my father was with me, and my father just couldn't tell me anything because they didn't want me to know anything. And then I remember being on a stretcher in another room, and I guess they were sewing my thumb back on because my thumb was off and my arm was all shattered, and I had neck injuries and back injuries. Kyle was 2 to 3 breaths a minute at the scene of the crash. When he was taken out of the car, he was bleeding through his nose, choking, and he had some 2 strokes at the scene. So they had no hopes for survival for Kyle. He was brought to UMass. He went into surgery right away. They did tell my mother that they did not think that he would survive, but if you wanted us to do the surgery, they would try. He had 6 cranial bleeds. He had severe stomach damage that had to be healed from the inside out, so everything was on top of his belly. He made it through the surgery, but we still had no idea what would happen to him after that. My 2 little girls, one broke her femur, and one was so traumatized she no longer could speak, and she was just vomiting a lot, and she was just, you know, so emotionally distraught that she just couldn't talk. Katie was so busy, she was in so much pain that she just was crying and screaming, and it was terrible. Now, in the middle of the night, they brought me to St. V's, to UMass. I had my surgery. I was rushed into surgery to do my arm. They did my arm. Now it's morning, mid-afternoon. I'm waking up from the surgery. The doctor came in and said, "I need to tell you all your injuries and explain what is happening." And I was like, "I don't want to know about me. I want to know about my family." And where is my husband? So that's when I found out for real that my husband was gone and not coming back. No, that can't be true. I need him more than ever. We were just shopping at the Auburn Mall. We weren't doing anything wrong. How could he be gone? But he was, so there was nothing I could do about it. Where's my son? Kyle was fighting for his life. They said he was in the next room. They had to shave his head. They had the breathing tube down him. They said he had all those cranial bleeds, bleeding, stomach damage, 2 strokes, seizures. Jeez. They said that if he did survive, he may never know who I am again. Never know who I am again? I just lost my husband? How can that be? Jeez. Where's my daughters? My daughters were in another room. They would be okay. One had to be put in a body cast, full body cast from head to her ankles, but she would recover. And Kimberly was so traumatized from her speaking and just traumatized from, all the vomiting and everything, and she just was crying a lot. And every time she tried to speak, everything was just a big stutter. I need to see my children. They got me a wheelchair, they put me in the wheelchair. I go to the ICU to see Kyle. He had so many bandages on his head, his chest, everywhere, all the leads, the tube down his mouth, breathing for him, hearing all the machines running. I just couldn't understand it. We were just in the car. He wanted rollerblades. We went shopping to buy him rollerblades. And now here he was fighting for his life, all because someone made a bad choice. All I could do was hold his hand and tell him how much I loved him and how much I would always be here for him. And we would get through this and we would fight together. Then I left him to go see my 2 daughters. Walking into their room, they were screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, hold me." I couldn't even walk. I didn't even have 2 arms. I couldn't hold them. Katie was in a crib. All I could do was hold her little finger. Kimberly was brought over to me, and she was sitting near me, and I tried to hold her as much as I could. And we just cried and talked, and it was just so much to take in. The next day, I told them that their daddy had died. That was one of the hardest things I ever did in my life, was tell my little girls that their daddy was never coming back. A lot of yelling and screaming. Kyle, they wanted to know where Kyle was. I told them Kyle was in another room and he was trying to get better. And we had to make him pictures, and you know, when he wakes up, you're going to be singing to him and doing your nursery rhymes and, you know, talking what kids do. I did, honey. But I'll tell you, Kyle and I were in a hospital for 11.5 months before we even came home. That is a long time. Kyle had so many surgeries. Just the first 8 weeks being at UMass, he had about 8 surgeries, I think it was. Then we went to Spalding Rehab in Boston. Honey, this is a crash that you don't want anyone to ever go through in your life. It's so much trauma. The loss is, you never get over the loss. The loss still feels like it was yesterday. Mike was only 39 years old. He was just way too young to die. He had everything going for himself. And he was the best father, best husband, uncle, you name it. This guy was the best to everybody. He was so loved. And if Keith would have only had a plan that night, our crash wouldn't have happened. It's been a really long journey. It's 27 years now. When Kyle came home in his coma, it was a year-long coma. So he had to still go to school. So that following September, he went to school at Mass Hospital School, which he totally loved. And he did all kinds of things there, which he would have never did if the school wasn't there. But between hospitals and surgeries and being at school, no, this is Kyle. It's just been a lot with all of that process. We lived at Children's. We probably have a year and a half staying at Children's. Imagine that. Well, in between Spalding and Boston, at least a year and a half. I lost count. I don't even count anymore. Kyle was sedated every 13 weeks for many years, up until 2 years ago. So for 25 years, he was sedated every 13 weeks. And that was Botox injections to help keep him out of pain. And his injections. Throughout the 27 years, Kyle has had 32 surgeries. You wouldn't, I mean, he's been operated on his head many times, his belly, his back lip and pump. He had to, his muscle tone took over his whole body, so it started in his feet, then it went to his kneecap, is all on his side, then it took his hip, it took his whole spine, now it's all in his neck. It took his, originally it was in his left arm it took, then we got the left arm. The right arm was bad and the left arm was good, so we had to put casting on the right arm. We got the right arm back, but the left arm went. So he's left, but at least the right, he was right-handed, you know. So, but he's just been back and forth with doctors and medical, but you want to talk about a warrior and a trooper. This kid has done everything and he never complained. He always had a thumbs up and is always like, I'm just going for a little sleep, and you know, then he was okay. You know, he's just so strong. But I taught him from the beginning. When we came home from the crash, he was in a lot of pain. The spasms were unbearable. But it was like, can't be our end of our life living like this. You know, my house, my little apartment was turned into a hospital. You know, I had a hospital bed in the living room. My kitchen was like an office, and we had 3 hospital beds. I mean, it was unbelievable. But when he came home, now I was sleeping on the couch, and it was him in the hospital bed. My girls now were upstairs, and he would scream and scream all night long. Medicine would not even touch him. I would have to be massaging his muscles and trying, but nothing worked because the spasms were so bad. If you women here think having a baby is bad, that's nothing. And I went natural. So I know what that's like, but I've had Kyle spasms. They are so painful. Oh my God, it was like the tears were coming down. They're so painful. Like, you know, like a Charlie horse, you can put your foot on the ground and you can try to break it. Not that kind. You can't break it. And this is the reason why. It's because his foot is being turned. When his spasms happen, how do you stand on a turned foot? And that was happening to me. When I was having those spasms, I would try to break it from like thinking of a Charlie horse. Oh my God, I would have broke my whole foot. So I had to live through the pain.
And now what are the spasms from? Why, like?
For me,
Yeah.
I have a lot of back injury.
And why?
And his is,
They were like cut, like the muscle, or?
all my discs were injured, and yeah, I've had a few surgeries, yeah, and now you're just left with spasms and stuff. But Kyle's has a TBI, and he had 2 strokes. So for him, you know, his brain injury took a lot of his body, you know. But it's just amazing. Even the doctor told me back then, he's like, he only takes the worst cases, and Kyle was one of the worst he's ever had. And he told me when he retired, everything that was going to happen to him. And he was correct on everything. Everything he said, he was correct on. And he told me that I would not be able to find doctors. He is so correct, because no doctor wants Kyle. They all say he's too complicated, they don't want to be involved. So we're at the end of our doctors. They're all retiring now. The new ones we got for a year or 2, and now I don't know what we're going to do. It's just going to be well, now we're kind of at the end anyway, so I don't even know if we can, you know, what will happen if we go to an emergency room. He has no veins. It's so hard to get IVs into him now. He's on borrowed time. How did all this happen, Kyle? Trying to remember. Okay, 2 years ago, he has so many things happen to him medically that I have to think about. How did all this start? We went on a whole new journey 2 years ago. Kyle's shunt let go. We had no idea that his shunt let go. He's had this shunt for many, many years. He wasn't having any headaches. He wasn't having anything wrong. So now he's not peeing. So I'm like, how can you not pee for this amount of time? It was a crazy amount of time. So I said, well, I have to take you in. they gotta cath you, we gotta get this pee out of you. So went to Southbridge. I never go to Southbridge. We always are in Boston, right? I go to Southbridge, I says, I think he needs to be cath. I said, he can't pee. Well, little did I know when they did the CAT scan, they came back and said the shunt let go. And they said his stomach was all big. Think of a bubble. You know when you blow in bubbles? You know how one bubble will come out and then a bunch of little bubbles? Well, that was inside of his stomach. So they said they couldn't, it wasn't even showing much urine in there. So that was not the problem. So he had to be rushed to a hospital to have surgery. Everybody said they couldn't take him.
I remember, I think you're saying.
Nobody wanted him. It's like, well, call Children's. They have to take him. Even though he's past 22, he's had all his shunts there. They need to take him. You know, so he called back and told him, I said, don't tell him his age. You tell him everything they did for him, then tell him he really needs urgent care right now, otherwise he's going to die. So Children's said, send him up, bring him here, we'll take him. Well, guess what? I get there, they don't want us. They said, he's going to be hospitalized for 2 months. This is very serious. They said, we can't take him. He's too old. He's 35 years old. They said he belongs in the adult hospitals. I said, they don't want him. They already said they don't want him. He says, no, you're going to bring him in women's. We walked over. We get to bring him in women's. That doctor comes in, and the doctor says, you sure you don't want to go back to Children's? I can get you back there, you know. You don't have to stay here. I'm like, unbelievable. It's like nobody wants him.
Musical hospitals.
Yeah. And so I said, no, he's of age. We're staying put. This is where we got to be. Someone's got to, he needs medical attention ASAP. So it took a few days still, because nobody wanted to touch him. And then finally they said, okay, we're going to get the fluid out of his stomach, and that's going to buy us some time. So they emptied out his stomach, and that was through a procedure where they just put the needles in. And he says, we're going to let you go home. He said, for that week, and then you're going to have to come back in because he's going to need a whole new shunt replacement. Well, that week came and went, and here I am calling, Kyle's filling up. We need to get back in. Did you schedule the surgery? Did you find a team of doctors? I never said that. So it was awful. It was so bad. So anyway, now he has to go to a hospital. And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I just took him to Worcester, and I said, we'll get him situated there because he was such heartburn, he needed heartburn medicine, stuff to calm him down. And they did that to him, and then they said, well, he's too urgent, he's got to get to the city. Nobody would take him, even the doctor that said he was going to have do surgery on him. So now Worcester says, we can't touch him, he's too severe too. So now, now I said to them, well, somebody's got to do something with him. He's going into heart failure now. His organs are starting to, you know, he was just going too high. He needed the ICU. Things were just not going right. They said, we have to admit him. We have no choice because he's here. But we'll see if somebody will drain him. They said that they found somebody. We got there, morning, nope, we're not touching him. And then it was, I shouldn't be telling you it all because it's in Kyle's book, but I'm not going to finish telling you the rest of it because you got to read it. It is unbelievable what happens, how they refused us, what they did, and then what happened. It's just, it's an amazing story. Well, it's all in the book, so I don't want to tell you everything, you know, because when you read it, you know, I want you to read it so you can get the whole picture of it, because I'm skipping over some details, but there's a lot of in between. And then if I ever write my next book, there's a lot more. A lot more, because I'm like just skipping around to give you a little idea of what's been going on. But since then, we got through that ordeal. Kyle has still, we had one good year, and then all of a sudden, he had to go into the hospital, and then he started needing oxygen. And then they told me his lung collapsed. So we were like, oh boy, because when he had to get his shunt put in, they had to connect it to his lung. So now I knew, it's like, oh God, now we're going to be in big trouble often. So now it's connected to his lung. Now he's more able to get pneumonia, and it collapsed. So now they told me he wasn't going to make it. This is not in the book. This is a continuance now, okay?
This was just within the last year.
Yeah, yeah. So after you read this one, this has all happened after that. So now Kyle is in the ICU. They said he was going to die. And I'm like, he's not going to die. He doesn't even look like he's going to die. You know? They said, no, he's going to go into congestive heart failure. Where was all that fluid going? It made no sense. So we were there. And I never said it to the people that they said he was going to die, because he didn't look like he was going to die. So after the 8 days of being in the ICU, the doctor came in and I said, you know what, we're going home today. We got living to do. I'm not sitting here waiting for my son, because nothing's going to happen to him. Obviously, he's found a way to handle this. And I don't know how, but we're being discharged today. And he's like, no, don't. I said, no, and we're going to Florida. He looked at me, what? You're going to Florida? I said, yes, that's his happy place. I said, to me, he's stable enough for me to take him. We're going. So we ended up going. And I don't know what happened, but we came home. He went and got a CAT scan. His lung emptied out. He had a normal lung again. And we were like, huh, how did that happen? That does not happen, okay? So now he's good. Now summer comes. When we had all that humidity, I wouldn't let Kyle stay out there long, because I was nervous. Would that lung fill back up? And it did. The lung ended up filling back up. Now he needs 8 liters of oxygen. You know, or 6 liters. He was all over the place. I had a machine at home for 4 liters, not 4 and above. So I had to call the ambulance, and he was taken in, and he was on 10 liters at the hospital. And he had that BiPAP machine, and that's when I learned that his CO2 was 120. So in order to take the CO2 away, he needed to keep that BiPAP machine on, and they needed to drain the lung again, which we knew the lung would just fill back up, because we did that at Harrington Hospital. We drained it and it just came right back. So we knew that wasn't an answer. And then, so now we're home, and they told me he had about 2 weeks to live. One doctor wouldn't say anything, one doctor did. And then hospice said 2 weeks. So we put him on hospice just in case, because I didn't want him in any pain. But it was still so hard to believe, because he still wasn't acting like he was going to die. But like they said, where is all this fluid going? Where is all the CO2 going? You can't live with 120. People don't act like him. You know, they die 70, 75. You know, this is serious. And after 4 or 5 weeks being on hospice, I says, we're getting off hospice. And we've been off of hospice now since, I think, September. And he's still hanging in there. And the girls are good. One's a nurse at Memorial. She delivers babies and takes care of them after. And then Katie is a PA, and she's a cardiologist at UMass. Yeah, and then my other my other daughter that I say I gave my heart to, I hate saying stepdaughter, she's a nurse also, and she takes care of the babies. And so many people that have worked for Kyle, they go into the medical field. It's just amazing. But the girls are doing great. So now it's day to day with Kyle. We don't really know what's going to happen on that end, but we'll just take it as it comes. And they keep saying he's on borrowed time. Well, let's hope the borrowed time is a lot longer. How has the CO2 affected him? He has a lot of repeating. He can repeat the same thing 10 times, and that is so wearing. I'm not going to tell you this has been easy, because it's not easy. Oh, it's very exhausting. Eating has gone down to barely nothing. He's gathering food in his mouth now where he's having trouble to get the motion to swallow it. So I went to food pouches, and that is really what is saving him. And what do I do with the food pouches is I'm using all frozen fruit. I use honey, I use avocado, yogurt, and choice. So he's having like 6 to 8 pouches a day. And plus I tried to squeeze in like pudding. I make everything for him fresh, so it's all healthy for him. And I try to get in one decent meal a day, but he's eating like a baby. He's not eating much at all. So I really don't know, how long we're going to have on that end. But I'm trying my best. But if it wasn't for the pouches, he would not be here. He would have died already. But he's got a pouch. You want me to show you what a pouch is? And just remember, a pouch is not just for babies. It's very good for adults, anybody that cannot eat. It's really been a lifesaver for people that cannot eat, And he loves them. And I even make shakes in there for him. I use eggnog, I put vanilla ice cream, or I put chocolate milk with chocolate ice cream, and he loves it. I've been really trying to do a big variety for him. But that's why he's here. It's me and Lenny mostly. I'm the majority, because Lenny works and, men. It helps me, as I need him or whatever. But no, but it's mostly me. But I'm not going to tell you. I'm not tired, because I am. I'm not sleeping much. I get 4 to 5 hours night sleep. It's very draining watching somebody go down. I refer to somebody with Alzheimer's, because we just watched this with my father. And I relate it to that, watching somebody decline. And it's really hard when you love somebody so much, Yes, faith, hope, and courage, and love. That's what has gotten me through all of this. And if I didn't have faith, if I did not believe in God, and when people pass, like Mike, when he passed away, if I didn't believe that he was still there, I don't think I ever would have made it. But I'll tell you, he has guided me through all these 27 years. And I told Mike at the funeral, at his wake, I said, I had a good half hour alone with him. And I told him, I said, I need your help. I need help making life and death decisions. I can't do this by myself. I need you to guide me. And I told him I was not going to follow my heart. I was going to follow my gut. And believe me, I have followed my gut. I can't even tell you how many times. And it has always led me to my answer. Just like when they left him to die. Oh my God, I'm arguing with the doctors. I had to leave them. Kyle's telling him, giving up is not an option for me. You're not letting me die. I survived all of these years, and you're leaving me to die. Oh my God, it was awful. You're going to read all about that. And I went into the bathroom, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like looking in the mirror. Mike, help me! And I'm banging on the counter. I need help. You need to give me my answer. You need to tell me it now, please. And I just said, I'm going to follow my gut, whatever my gut tells me. And my gut told me to call his doctors. So I did all of that. But then again, that's all in there. I want you guys to read it. But that's where I got my answer. But that's how I've survived all these 27 years. I have a problem. I'm always praying, and I go right to Mike for my answers. And I get him somehow. And I've seen him around me, felt him around. That's all in A Mother's Journey book. All the miracles we have received several miracles. I have gotten a healing. I forgot to put that in my book because I was so busy writing all Kyle's stuff that I forgot to say what happened with me. But I had severe colitis. I was very bad when our crash happened. And my doctor from Boston called up UMass after the accident happened, said, you need to increase her medicine because she's very severe and she's not going to be good. So they increased my medicine. then the nurses said to me, let's go to a mass with Father Diario, because Father Diario was always at the hospital with us. And so we went to a mass for Kyle. And while we were at that mass, I'm there for Kyle, nobody else, just Kyle. And he was mentioning people with stomach issues. And he was describing a woman, and I wouldn't stand up. And he described me to the T. And the nurses were like, Lisa, he's talking about you, stand up, stand up. And I was like, no, I'm here for Kyle, I'm not here for myself. And then I finally stood up, and then he did his praying, and then all of a sudden, he says, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the miracle happen to you. And my whole inside my stomach spinned around and around and around. I'll never forget that feeling. I can still feel it right now, just doing a rotation in my stomach. It was unbelievable. And after that, I stopped all my medicine. I never needed another pill. I was going for my testing all the time to check my colonoscopies. And I told the doctor, I said, I stopped all my medicine. I said, I haven't had any problems at all, and I got a healing. And he just, what? Didn't believe me. And he says, well, I guess your colon's going to let us know if you got a healing or not. So he did the colonoscopy. He said, I'd never seen anything like it. Wow. I had a brand new colon.
That's so awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I know, unbelievable. So I was really lucky with that. But yeah, faith, hope, and courage. So you have to have your faith. You got to have hope. If you don't have hope, I don't know how you ever get through life without any hope, because we all need to hope for the best and hope for what we want in our life. And you need the courage to step forward when you need to, courage to speak up if you have to, and courage just to move on in life and to do what your loved one would want you to do. And one thing I always remember what Mike told me is that life is for the living, and you always have to continue living no matter what. And that has always stuck with me to help me to be able to continue on in life. And we all need love. Who doesn't need love? We all need love. And you could just have one person in your life, but if you have that true love and that one person that's there for you, that's all you really need. You know? And life is all about good choices and decisions that we all make. And if we make those good choices and decisions, it's going to help us to have a better life. You know, especially with driving under the influence or drugs, alcohol, texting, anything. I had a presentation, was about a month and a half ago. It was, 400 students? And, oh my God. And I said, how am I going to do a presentation without Kyle? I had never done a presentation without him. But I said I had to, because I knew he wouldn't be good. And I wasn't going to be all over the place in front of those kind of people, you know, too many people. And so I had to go without him, and I couldn't believe I did it, but I cried. Of course I cried. But we did it. So Kyle's book, If I Can Smile, I Can Live. Now, you see this one picture? This one picture, I had to take over 100 pictures. 100 pictures. Oh my God. He gave me such problems to take a picture, and I took him to 4 different places. He just would give me all kinds of faces. You want to show him the faces you would give me? He would do a frown look. Oh no. Yeah.
He's trying.
Yeah, when it smile. Oh my God. And the title, If I Could Smile, I Can Live, right? So he needed a nice big smile. Oh, it was torture. I could have killed him. I could have killed him. So, this book was in the works, I want to say, for about 3 years. Kyle had a bucket list, and this was one of the things that was on his bucket list. And I started it, and then I put it down, and then we'd go back to it. But it was really hard because I had to think, you know, do a timeline from where my book left off, and then where do I start with him when he woke up from his coma. So I had to ask him so many questions. Oh my God. So many questions. And then I'd have to have him in bed so that he could talk to me, because he talks the best in bed. So that's how we did it. I would ask him a question, he would answer it. Then I would gather all the answers that he gave me and make the chapter. And then read him the chapter if he approved or disapproved or whatever. Yeah, oh yeah. And he was so hard on his answers. There was one particular one I kept telling him, Kyle, every time I read it, it sounds so harsh. We have to change it to make it better, you know. But yeah, everybody that knows Kyle is telling me that. They said, boy, you can tell this is Kyle talking in there, because he's not a sympathy person. He's not going to feel bad for you. If you have a bad back right now, are you going to care?
No, you're gonna care.
Huh? Are you going to care? What do you say? What do you say if people are not feeling good? Yeah. You know, I forgot to put it in there. One of his sayings. Yeah, he's saying it right now.
What?
Like say right now, I can't believe I forgot. If say right now, Jenny says, oh, I'm in a lot of pain, I just fell. He'll tell you, suck it up, buttercup. I forgot to put that in there. Because he always says that. And it's like, how did you not catch it? And I didn't catch it. But yeah, but we forgot. But that was one thing, though, growing up with all the kids, you know, the girls and the PCAs and stuff, they would be there crying because they had to study, and they were all in nursing school, medical school, and they were just having a hard time. It's hard. It's not easy stuff. And Kyle would tell them, you can do it. I wish I could be you, you know. So just do it, right, Kyle? Just do it. Right. I'll trade places with you any day. And it made them think to say, you know what, he's correct. You know, so. But yeah, it was a lot of questions, but he just doesn't, he's not very sympathetic. That's all I can tell you. Oh, what's one of your thing on the bucket list? Well, his book was.
If we can do it, it was,
When?
how are they going to make it happen?
Yes.
Like what? Like going to Disney?
Everything. Everything he wanted, but there's still one I can't do. It's he wants the Mississippi River on the cruise. It's like 15,000, 20,000 a person for 1 week. I don't have that kind of money. But anyway, his book is. People told me they laughed out loud, they cried. It was an Amazon bestseller the day it released.
Wow, that's great.
I know, couldn't believe it. One of his categories, Amazon bestseller. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, Kyle, you know. But Kyle is an artist. His artwork is all over the United States. It's amazing. He is an athlete. He did, he's an Ironman, yeah. He did the Boston Marathon, and he got the Boston Marathon Inspirational Award this year. Yeah, and he's done triathlons. Thank God for Mike DiDonato. And his beautiful running chair. Oh my God, he's got so many running chairs. Mike is making him running chairs all the time. And he's got a beautiful one in Florida, if we ever can get down there again. But anyway, so this book, you know, it took 9 months to publish. And I think publishing your own book is one of the hardest things that you will do also, because they put you through hell writing books. And they don't edit them properly. So you're always going back and forth. And they just take a long, long time. But, you know, people will say, how do you do it? The best thing I suggest is to do a timeline. Write out your timeline, write each year what happened in each year and that you would want to talk about, and then go from there. And it doesn't mean you have to go in order. If you want to skip around to each chapter, different chapters, go right ahead, because you can always go back. But does anyone have any questions?
The way the hospitals treated you,
Children's was excellent every time we were there. It's the adult hospitals. The adult hospitals is so different.
I had
It's
no
just,
idea that doctors or hospitals could refuse.
oh, wait till you read what they said to us.
tell us one thing.
No, because I don't want to tell you everything. It's, because you want to read it.
Just give us a
They
little
said.
tease.
No, but they were very, very rude, but we set them straight, don't you worry.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, we set them straight, and a lot of it's not in Kyle's book, because it didn't come from him. It was my next book. If I ever do another book, I have a lot more to add to that chapter. Because it was me living it. He just said, Mom's going to take care of it. Mom's got this. Mom will handle it. But, yeah, Mom had to handle it, I'll tell you. He has no idea what I was doing on the side. No idea, because I didn't want him worried about anything. And it's so wonderful, because Kyle is so loved by so many people that when I put that out there, that they were leaving Kyle to die and I needed help, people were just like, do this, try this, and media contacted me. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, we were so lucky. But everything for Kyle all these years is a fight, everything. Whether it came to his diapers, whether it came to his day program, whether it comes to Mass Health, whether it comes to anything I need for Kyle. I've been fighting for 27 years. And of all people, he's so paralyzed, there's nobody to care for him. So I told him, come get him. Come get him, he's yours. They didn't know what to say, because you know why? They don't have a place for him. It's me that takes care of him. He would be in a hospital full time. He would cost the state so much more money, But it's really sad how I have to fight for everything with him. I shouldn't have to be fighting for everything for him. So, but that's just the way our world is, and But someday when I get the energy back, I'm going to go back to all these things that I fought for to help other people. See, we're an only case in a lot of areas that there hasn't been another crash like ours. So that makes Kyle so different, because his father died and he was not born disabled. So it makes Kyle very different. So everything for Kyle is a waiver. Everything for him. And we lost health insurance, I don't even know how many times throughout the years. Oh my God. And thank God for Ann Goby. She was the one that helped me. And to stop all this nonsense. So I had a good 5 years or so, 6 years with not losing it until like 2 years ago. We lost it again. I had to handle it on my own. But then I had to call up the office to say, I know she's not here, but I really need your help. And they got it back for me the same day again.
It's truly amazing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you have to go to the higher up for people to help you, because people just don't know what to do. And it's not all their faults because they don't know what to do, because we're a different type of case, But it's not fair to us to have all this nonsense all the time. And that's the bike and the swimming.
But it's the swim part.
Yeah, he's in a towboat. He's in a boat. Mike would put Kyle in the boat and with his life jacket on, and then it would be a tether that goes around Kyle. Well, it goes around Mike's waist, and then it's attached to the boat, and then he would swim and he would pull the boat.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the Boston Marathon. For some reason, they love to run in the rain. It's always rain. Everything they do is rain. It's unbelievable. And they did it. And like I said, he ended up getting the Inspirational Award, huh, Kyle? So that was a big deal, too. He's a charmer, huh, Jenny? He's a charmer. He's a charmer. He's a ladies' man. He's a ladies' man. And he's a big flirt. Yes. Yeah, we're trying to get his personality back, because the CO2 is just making him to be a different person. But yeah, he is a flirt. He loves the woman. Oh my God, does he love the woman? He's a famous artist, he's an athlete, and he's an Amazon best-selling author. So he's accomplished a lot in his life, huh, Kyle? And you won't believe everything he has done when you read everything he has done. It's just amazing. There's not too much he hasn't done. He's done more than me in my life. I'm always the side person helping, but It's just amazing. But like I said, his attitude is just amazing. He's just always got that thumbs up. Going into surgery, thumbs up. Just going for a little sleep, Mom. It's like, yeah, it's all set. He's good. This guy, I told him, I said, I said, Kyle, because when we were ordering our books, right? He says, he knows that I ordered thousands of books of mine, right? So he's like, well, how many are you going to order? How many are we ordering? I says, well, let's start low. I said, because we really don't know what's going to happen. And I didn't know what online was doing because I had no clue yet. And so I said, let's just start with 500. So we ordered 500 books. Now I'm finding out Amazon. Everybody went to Amazon. That's why he was in the top 100 books as soon as it was released. So that's how he became, an Amazon bestseller immediately. So yeah, he sold a lot online, but now we had all those books to get rid of. So I'm so glad I didn't listen to him and ordered thousands like I did with mine. But mine was different. We didn't have COVID. Everyone's trained to go online now. So, but my day, it was just so different. What was the other? Oh yeah, want to watch the movie? So a lot of the things we talked about is going to be, you're going to see right in here.
There's a hero if you look inside your heart. You don't have to be afraid of what you are. There's an answer if you reach into your soul, and the sorrow that you know will melt away. And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth that a hero lies in you. It's a long road when you face the world alone. No one
Good. All the prayers help. I really believe in that. Yep. Yep. I really believe
You were
that.
a trooper. I remember when you were at the Center of Hope with Joelle.
Yeah, he had a lot of fun with Joelle. Did you see that Vegas party he had? Jenny was a Vegas girl.
She told me.
Oh my God. I always say everybody has to have a son like Kyle because the things he makes you do.
You just do it.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. He says Vegas party, he's having a Vegas party, and he had one. That hall was so beautiful. And it was a Facebook event, and we had like, yeah, it was a lot of people. It was hundreds of people. It was amazing. And
Steve dancing little bits of nothing.
yeah, I know.
Look at him.
But he had a yeah.
Love you, Kyle.
Yeah, he had a magician. He had everything. It was a whole Vegas night. It was just so beautiful. It was just amazing. Oh yes, 30th birthday bash. I mean, that was a lot. That party. I'm like, I'm not getting in one of those little outfits again. Not with these sexy legs. Jenny was really cute. Good thing she was right up front.
Hide everyone else, right?
Oh, they had me up front once. I was, oh my God. Yeah, it was a fun party. It was really fun.
There's a hero if you look inside your heart. You don't have to be afraid of what you are. There's an answer if you're reaching